My name is Jeremiah. I'm the co-host. I'm also co-owner of Sheepdog Productions, a company producing this web series for you. And I want to tell you a little bit about myself, as this is the first episode. We'll let you get to know us, and then as we go on, we'll tell you about our journey. But my journey started when I was about 10 or 11 years old. I picked up my parents' camera and made a movie in the woods, backwoods of Maine, with a bunch of my friends with swords. Don't ask me why my parents let us have swords, but they did. It was a thing. It was great. I'm surprised I survived. I started off making fan films of Star Wars, because who doesn't start there? And I learned how to rotoscope in After Effects, so I could make my own lightsabers with the sounds and everything. I thought that was pretty cool. I knew I wanted to do film. In fact, it was Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. I was watching that for like the 13th time that day. And then I was watching, I realized that this was my passion: reaching people, telling stories, creating something that's never been done before, and sharing it with the world, and building community that way. So I realized that was what I wanted to do. And since that day, everything I've done has been geared towards trying to make this a reality. I completed my first feature-length script when I was 13. My parents actually let me put an ad in the paper, and I can't believe they did that. That was brave. So we had actors from all different corners of backwoods Maine showing up, and then seeing that a 13-year-old was the one who'd run this ad in the paper. Needless to say, they were a little bit less enthusiastic when they arrived. I think they realized at that point they probably weren't getting paid. Moving on, we got solid 20, 30 actors, walked them out into a field. Somebody responded to the ad and said, "Hey, I have a trebuchet." For those of you who don't know, that's what it looks like. I don't ask questions to things I don't want to know the answer to, so I still have no clue to this day as to why this gentleman had a trebuchet, but it was pretty cool. And we got to launch rocks across a field, which for a 13-year-old boy, setting off a trebuchet, it's up there. It was awesome. So I went to college in Keene, New Hampshire, Keene State College, where I got my film degree. I actually, beforehand, I joined the military and got to do a bunch of stuff with them, including one day go to college, post 9/11 GI Bill. Awesome. Thank you, Uncle Sam. I was able to graduate college without a ton of debt, and then chase my dream. So I moved from New Hampshire to Colorado with about $1,000 in my pocket, no prospects, no job, and put everything I had into trying to start this company here. And that's where I met my better half. She's talented, she's beautiful. She's not all that smart, because she said yes to me. That's Gwyneth, if you hadn't figured it out. She's flipping me off behind the camera right now, for those of you who are interested. So we are now in the middle of our grind. So Sheepdog Productions is our baby, and we're doing everything we can to one, help those around us succeed and succeed ourselves. And so that's part of this, is we want to share our knowledge and see other people who are out there chasing their dreams succeed. So it's a fight, it's a hustle, it's a grind. Keep with it. It's worth it.
Hey everybody, my name is Gwyneth Glissman, and I am also co-owner of Sheepdog Productions. And I'd love to tell you a little about myself and why I am so passionate about film, just like you guys are. When I was young, my mom had us watching all the old films she could get her hands on, and I loved every second of it. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do: be an actress, be a director, be a cinematographer. It all looked amazing to me. But as I grew older and kept discussing wanting to go into film, I got some negative feedback that I'm sure all of you are receiving on a daily basis, saying that, going into the arts is not exactly the best plan of action for a good future. And so I decided to branch out into a more technical field of study, and that was environmental studies and evolutionary and ecological biology, which I studied at the University of Colorado in Boulder, Colorado. Go Buffs. And I loved it. I love science. But in 2014, I was in a very bad car accident, and it left me with some pretty good noggin shaken. And I wasn't able to go back to college. I wasn't able to continue my studies. And so for a while, I didn't know what I was going to do. For a couple years, I had to relearn to do a lot of things that come naturally to everyone. And what helped me get through every minute of it was being able to watch film, to be able to escape into different worlds, different stories, different lives from my own. And that allowed me to find freedom. And so I realized that one thing I decided to focus on was photography. Ever since I had a bike accident, yes, accidents seem to be a trend in my life, I tinkered around with cameras and took pictures of my brothers also biking. And I fell in love with it. And so I taught myself Photoshop. I taught myself how to use a camera. I taught myself all the basic camera mechanisms, all of that stuff. And I shot my friends. I shot my family. I shot everybody I could. I shot every single day. I shot every single object I thought was photogenic or interesting or remotely whatever. Light, shadows, whatever I could do to understand this camera. And so after my accident, I was left with one talent, and that was cameras. Cameras was what I was so excited about now. And so I decided to join with Jeremiah and form Sheepdog Productions and start branching out into cinematography. And so I could, help create those other worlds so other people in situations like mine or much worse can use film to escape.